Currently Thursday, February 16th, 2012, and this is Day 9 Daily number 421, where we learn to be a better gamer. I am in my delightful festive yellow, so that way when I step onto the streets, people view me as a giant banana-colored beacon of joy. Yes! And it also makes my chest branded. Ha! In today's daily, we are not going to do an ordinary analysis of a game. We're actually inviting on an extra special guest who we'll introduce in just a moment, where we'll be reviewing some games he's playing with a new strategy. Before we go into anything, just want to do the usual announcement jazz. I guess Fun Day Monday is next week, so if you'd be so kind as to submit a game of you destroying as much stuff with burrowed banelings as possible, that would be great. Send it to monday@day9.tv. I'm talking burrowed banelings, baneling drops, baneling flanks. I just want a lot of burrowed banelings in particular blasting up and exploding all over the screen. Alright, I think that's it. I think everything else is unimportant and boring. Awesome. Let's go into the topic of today's daily. We have an extra special guest with us today, and we're going to introduce him right now. His name is LiquidSheth. Hi, Sheth. How are you?
Doing good. I'm an extra special guest.
Yes.
Extra specially happy. I don't know. It's good, man.
I figure it would be somewhat rude to be like, we have a moderately special guest coming on the show today. His specialness is adequate at best.
Averagely special.
Goodness knows, Sheth, you're the man. So in a lot of the dailies, what we generally do is we'll look at a strategy and examine it and try to break down a lot of what's going on. But Sheth, I understand that you've been experimenting around with a new Zerg vs. Protoss style?
Yeah, I've been playing around with it quite a bit. I wanted to talk with you about it. And, for it.
Because this is less going to be an analysis like, oh, this is why it works, now steal it. And what it's going to be more of is a leak-finding mission. Because very often I think there's this kind of illusion that if you just play a lot, you just get good. You have to know exactly what it is you're practicing and what it is you're trying. Losing is no big deal. It's just another way to find out, hey, one of the ideas I was trying, I now know definitively what the answer is, and let's try something new. So before we even go into any of these games, Sheth, if you could just tell us a little bit about what the basic strategy is, that would be awesome.
Okay. It's not really a basic strategy, which makes it hard to say. Give us the basics on the strategy that's really
give us the 5-mile view.
Okay. The idea is you stay on 2 bases and you try and deny vision from your Protoss friend, and the whole being on these 2 bases just lets you stay safe and get to tech really quick. And the tech you want to get to generally is infestor. I mean, if you think the Protoss sees it and it's doing something crazy, you can maybe go to Hydra or Roach. Like if you're sure they're doing a blink all in, maybe you defend it with something else.
Yeah.
But the point is to get infestor, have spine crawlers defending, and go into a late game where you get Lings, maybe Ultra or Broodlord with this base infestor as quick as you can, and hold through bases.
Now, I guess one thing I'd immediately want to ask is, like, what is there like a big moment that you're trying to generally go for? Or, you know, because I know like in Zerg vs. Terran, a lot of Zergs are like defend, and now I have Broodlords and let me just go in and do the attack. Or, I don't know, if you have some big drop planned with a lot of other strategies. Is there anything like that? Or just general tactics you're going for in the late game?
Well, we talked about it a little bit where, like, up until now, my general plan was just defend, get a lot of infestor and Zergling, get good upgrades. And then once you get 2-3 upgrades, you should be maxed, and you're hitting max like a very precise point, and then you just go. And you don't necessarily need to attack, but you need to do damage and trade off parts of your army so that you can keep getting your army better to deal with theirs. So that's the moment. Once you get Ultras, trade army.
Yes, because I remember when we were talking a little bit beforehand that you were saying, like, you're really trying to emphasize, like, the Ultras and Broodlords is, like, the big portion. That's where, like, the winning state happens, is just getting favorable trades there. And also, are you playing with a bottle cap by your mic?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, did I identify the object correctly? Oh, today is already awesome. All right, cool. So I wanna hop into this 20-minute game that you played with Bishu, who it looks like he's your sparring partner, on Dual Daybreak, which I always mess up the name of. Excellent.
Dual break. Let's go dual break.
Yeah, dual break. Why
Confuse.
not? So I know that you're going to stay 2 base and you're going to go for infestors and just spine crawlers as sort of a defense. And again, I'm actually going to pause this game and just sort of come back to the main screen and just note that in terms of like how I try to analyze and try to basically do leak finding for any strategy, like
Okay.
I actually talk the same way I do in the daily to the wonderful viewers at home. Like I actually just the same way I do in the daily. I'm actually going to be talking to Sheth in that identical fashion. So like as I'm coming over to the game, I know I went through the games a little bit, and I know that you're going to be really delayed on gas. Of all the possible openings, I actually saw pretty much all early expand, so I'm going to like focus largely on that. Is there any of those basic openings you're really uncomfortable with? Like, if he goes early expand 6 gate, or really fast 4 warp gate, or really fast void ray, or any of that? Is there one of those that is harder to defend than the other ones?
I think in this situation, really quick Stargate might be harder to defend with this build. I think if you see that sort of situation coming, you don't want to do this build. Like, you want to switch off into like getting a really early third, maybe getting Hydras and pressuring with that instead of Infestor. I'm not sure though. Like, I don't know. That's why I'm testing this build, talking to you about it.
So what I'm doing is I'm kind of zooming through. I just hit the 5-minute mark, and it looks like you throw down all your geysers all at about the same time. You don't really have too many Zerglings. You're not getting speed at all. Yeah, all 4 geysers at like 44. And in terms of just some normal timings... Oh, I was thinking about something where I know that if you are on a 2-gas... If you're on a 2-gas... Well, tell me this timing works, because I actually just thought of this in the shower that I took like 30 minutes ago. When you're on a... if you're a 2-gassing Terran, or Protoss, you've early expanded, you've done the 2-gas thing, and you build your gate and you build your core at normal timings, ordinarily, when the core finishes, you have exactly 150 gas. So that's generally when you see players go for like Sentry or Warp Gate right away. Something like that. So I think that if you see them build a gateway before 3 minutes and 30 seconds, or just like a 3-minute, 30-second gateway-ish around that time, you can get a really good sense of whether they're going fast Stargate by just seeing if the Cybernetics core starts doing its little twisty thing.
Maybe not even the twisty thing, but if you see a Sentry, like that would work for sure.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
The thing, right?
Yeah, the Sentry will definitely like be like super key, but you know they can't get a Stalker out to prevent the Zergling from scouting the front. So immediately that. But of course, like if he does something like builds a pylon at the front of your base, then I don't know if that timing's actually reliable to work with.
Oh yeah, that's true a little bit too. Like,
yeah,
what's a cyber core or something too?
All right,
really mess you up.
I see you build 3 spine crawlers right at 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about what those spine crawlers are all about?
Okay, well, I only built 3. I'm not sure if that's like a good amount or not. In this case, I saw like 4 or 5 gates, so I knew like there's a possibility of some sort of timing. And Zerglings, especially because mine don't have +1, and he does have +1, they're gonna like die unless I have some sort of really good defense. Which is why I should be getting something like a 3rd queen and these 3 spines, and then hopefully the lings will be able to help somewhat as well. Lings kind of prevent the zealots from getting a surrounder running right by them.
Yeah,
and the spines just tank and kill everything.
Because I remember when
spines are really good, man.
Yeah, spines are the man. You know, because I was talking to you a little bit about this beforehand. I mean, see the +1/+1, see the 3rd hatch in the main. This 3rd hatch, like, makes total sense. You can't defend the 3rd. There's the infestation pit going down. Because infestors are awesome. But there's just a lot of Zerglings out on the map right now, and you're still building more and more and more. And I'm wondering if that's ideal. I mean, you were talking about like defending Colossus pushes with that, but I mean, I just feel like for the next 15 minutes, these Zerglings like don't. They kind of hang out.
They do. Well, I think my question would be then, what do you want me to spin the larva on? Drones?
Yeah, well, I'm wondering like, because it's one of those things where you know anything. My instinct is that anytime something's built for defense, there needs to be some way to turn it into offense, or to have some other purpose. Like you're taking these other expansions, and I'm around 12 minutes right now. You have your infestors that just popped out. Let me think here.
What do you think about a hidden expansion instead of some of those circlings?
Yeah. See, now that's something that I think is like an interesting idea. Is that like, because I remember you were saying that a lot of the way you would combat a variety of different attacks would be to just do a lot of countering and counterattacking at the front of his base. And if you
like this army you see right here is really, really good at countering.
So, you know, I'm actually...
Especially if these infestors burrow. Sorry, I mean...
Yeah, no, well, I'm... Okay, so... Because as I come back here, I want to... I think what I want to do briefly for everyone watching is just go through this entire game kind of quickly. Like, you have a ton of Zergling Infestor in the middle, and this actually looks kind of similar to what Destiny's old style was with the fast double expand. Does look like, you know, fairly passive play. Bishu, of course, sees you just sort of like chilling, hanging out, and just takes a totally uncontested third. I mean, in your experience, is there any way to even deny this third? I mean,
yeah, well, actually, like, now that you bring that up, if you look, like, some of my infestors are getting near full energy.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not going to be ready with my ultras just yet. Maybe, like, going to the third, just spraying some infested Terrans, and just see the response I get. Whether or not I can go in and actually deal damage to the third might be a cool idea. Because, you know, I can just run them away with Burrow, hopefully, and if he goes forward, I mean, that's a risk. If he has a third this early, I should be able to run away. If I don't throw too many infested Terran, then I just bundle retreats.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is, he's doing this, like, crazy counterattack, and there's all sorts of goofiness that goes on. Basically, in this game, for anyone watching, Sheth is going to withstand this big counterattack at the end, and Sheth's big counter is going to end up winning. So, like, I want to just pull back, and I'm going to try to, like, break the game up into chunks. Like, there's the early game, where you're just basically making sure you don't die to some sort of really goofy cannon rush or proxy 2 gate. And then there's this period where you're rushing for the infestors and the Zerglings. And then you have this huge clump of Zerglings and these extra expands as you're teching all the way up. So, I'm going to pull back in this game to around... Well, when do your infestors pop out? Is it 12 minutes that they first pop out?
I think it can depend. I think here it's probably around 11, 12, yeah. Could be wrong.
Did you get, like... Because what I'm thinking is... Okay, so we...
Yeah, they're out at 12.
Because I'm wondering, in the mid-game, right now, we're just doing all sorts of defense, and I'm wondering if there's some way to turn that into some form of light, subtle aggression. And to, like, say, well, what unit is the most aggressive one? Or what's, like, the clear aggressive unit? You know, something like... Let's say that you're thinking in your head, like, the infestors are going to be really good for harassment. Then maybe instead of doing the triple gas, or the quadruple gas on 44, like... building one gas geyser really early on, and then just not getting Zergling speed. And then getting a pretty quick layer, and then going 4 gas. So the issue...
Just to have the infestors earlier?
Yeah, in terms of some sort of harassment. I mean, because I feel like the Zerglings, though, might be able to do the exact same job.
And I feel like you need a good amount of both to actually be threatening, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking a little bit beforehand about this late game period where, like, right around 16 minutes, you have tons of Zergling Infestor. You're getting, like, a lot of Ultralists.
Oh, I have a cool idea, actually. Alright, basically how you're talking a lot about how the Infestors are a lot of the harassing unit here, and the Zerglings a little bit too. How about if, like, this is a pretty early timing. Like, if you look at, like, 12 minutes... that sort of thing, you see that I have a little bit of extra gas, and I have, 9 infestors?
Yeah.
8 infestors already out? So how about instead I get 6, right? Like, just take away 2 of these, and then I have dropship. Why don't I, like, load all of my lings into the drop, go to the main, or not even all, just a lot, go to the main, use the rest to go to the third, and like then I can throw a lot of infesteds, use whatever lings I have left over, and I should get one of them, right? Like, it's very hard for him to be in both places perfectly.
That would
But I
definitely
guess,
make you a lot more aggressive at that period of time. But
yes,
I feel like that still could be strengthened a bit because, like, right at 12 minutes, like I love that idea so much. Okay, so we're turning our Ling Infestor, which right now is sort of passive. We want to make it more aggressive, but I'm also seeing you're getting your third and your fourth also all at the 12-minute mark. So I'm actually going to pull back to 4 minutes, and I want to look at the way your money looks right at the start of the game. Is there any way to like speed that up? Is there any way to get this infestor ling drop going earlier on? Because you had a lot of zerglings, and I wonder is like 60 zerglings the same as 30 zerglings effectively?
well, I know the limit to some drones mining minerals is 24. So, I mean, once you get past that, it's literally not at all helping you and your main two. Maybe if there's a time when I can get my gas earlier. I know, too, that, like, taking them all together at this point, it might seem weird, but I think it gives you the most larva and the quickest way to get your third up. I'm not sure. Maybe I could still take it earlier, but my third will be up later, and I'll have less lings, which, as you bring up, isn't a huge deal, because then the timing hits earlier, but like, what are we afraid of the Protoss doing that we needed to hit that much earlier, and we want to sacrifice kind of that early third macro hatch, you know?
Yeah. I mean, basically, I'm looking at, okay, so you get 4 gas geysers all at once. So this is naturally going to dictate all the timing of stuff that we do with gas. So it looks like you get your Zergling speed first at 7 minutes. So,
hey, what do you think about that? Like,
you know, my instinct is just skip it. And get it second. Because, I mean, if we get it now, it's going to be done at 8 minutes and 50 seconds, which is going to be a little bit after an early gateway pressure. Or not a super early gateway pressure either. Just like, well, actually, hell, if you, like, I'm sure in your experience against Liquid Hero, when he does that really obnoxious 4-gate at 750 warp in with +1, like, that's like, it's like so fast, and I don't think the speed Zerglings will really help with that. If he's going for some sort of 6-gate, it will barely help with that.
maybe it's map dependent. You know what I mean? Like, some maps, like here, I'm not that afraid of that sort of rush, because I like defended with spines. But like certain maps like Shakuris, maybe not even Shakuris, but like maps where War Prism is pretty common, I'll want that speed, you know?
Yeah, you know, because the sort of trade-off I'm working with in my head is that, okay, is Zergling speed helping us defend a lot of things? And I think that all it will really help mainly with from basically 7 to 10 minutes, I feel like the only thing it'll really help us with is to pick off pylons.
Yeah, scouting.
So we could probably delay that a little bit. Maybe if you took a ridiculously fast third. But, you know, if we don't get Zergling speed, then immediately, like you say, Warp Prism drops or stuff in the base is going to be a problem. So that's sort of I guess, where my instinct is to get the Infestors really fast. It feels like the Infestors can do more cool things than the Zerglings can, and they're gas-focused. So we can spend all our larvae getting a bunch of drones and maybe 5 spine crawlers at the front, 6 spine crawlers at the front, and go for the Infestors a touch faster. And that, I mean, if you think about it, okay, so you were saying that your third macro hatch, you wanted to get that third macro hatch up, and this 4 gas timing was pretty good for that. But you're also getting a whole bunch of Zerglings.
Yeah.
And so for every Zergling you get, that's 1 less drone you get. So if you're getting more drones instead of Zerglings, you'll probably still get enough money for that macro hatch at the same time anyways. You'll just have faster Infestors, no Zerglings. And right now that's like a way to get faster Infestors, but I don't know if faster Infestors is necessarily good. But so far sounds accurate.
Good.
But before, I guess, wow, we've already been going for 20 minutes. I'm not taking a break right now. And it looks like you start your layer at 7:30. So right now, I just want to look at like what all your gas stuff is doing, because it kind of looks like you just build gas-related stuff straight up, just like whenever you can.
Yeah, like you can go into Hydra or even into like Muta with this if you don't think Infestor is a good option. Like I've only messed with the Infestor version of it because I think it's the best. But like if you're playing like a best of 7, you don't have to go infestor first every time, you know?
Yeah, I'm also... So your goal is just to get to the late game?
It's to get to that like infestor Ling Ultra and have your 4 bases and then keep him from a 4th base while going into either Brood Lords, something with Spinecrawler defense, you know, just getting a good engagement there and trading that Zergling Infestor army properly and holding any timing, which Infestors are amazing at.
Yeah, I like the Infestors, because, I mean, if you're not really putting that much pressure on early with, like, Mutas or, like, Roaches or something like that, then you need, like, a leaner army that can all transition together a little better.
Oh, I have a cool thought. Okay.
Okay.
Like, the main thing that I was worried about with not getting speed is that, okay, well, they're going to take their 3rd. I'm not going to be able to scout it or even pressure it all with Speedlings.
Yeah.
But Speedlings aren't like I can't kill a 3rd or deny it really with only Speedlings unless they go Starport.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it's iffy. So, like, the thought is, if I stay on 2 base, the Protoss is going to be afraid to take the 3rd. And then even if they do take the 3rd, I'll still have that timing with the Infestor and Speedling later, but early enough.
Yeah.
So, like, that could work out, too.
Oh, that's actually a good point. So I guess you only need the Zergling speed to do some sort of Zergling Infestor regular attack. Because I know Destiny experimented around with that, just like going Zergling Infestor and just attacking the front straight up, just straight trying to barrel it down. And it even worked a good amount of the time on that worked on 2 base a lot of times. So like what you say, where it's like working on 3 base, that would like
that could work.
That would totally
right?
work. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, I guess we should take a break right now. I guess we should take a break. And when we come back, I don't know what we'll discuss, but I'll type to you in there. Maybe we'll look up another game. All right, cool. I'll see everyone in a sec.